Hello everyone and welcome to this Getting Started with the National Education Nature Park webinar. We're really excited to have this first opportunity to speak with you after the launch of the programme. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll be beginning with a brief overview of the background and aims of the programme for those of you who are joining us for the first time. We'll then move into some more specifics on what the Nature Park is and what it means to take part, as well as easy ways to get started that fit in with existing teaching and school activities, so you can select what will work for you. This should give you an understanding of the kinds of things you and your learners can take part in throughout the year to support your planning. And we will let you know about future webinars where we'll be providing more support on different parts of the programme. So today you will be hearing from myself. I'm Dr. Laura Soul, and I'm the Senior Programme and Partnerships Manager at the Natural History Museum. And I'll be presenting with Jenny Lobo, who is Senior Programme Officer for the Northwest at the Royal Horticultural Society. The RHS are our main programme partner, and they've been working with another partner organisation, Learning Through Landscapes, to pilot the programme in Northwest and West Midlands schools and nurseries. The programme is funded by the Department for Education, and you can see on the slide here the other programme partners, including the Royal Geographical Society, who have been trialling geography-focused programme resources with a further 20 schools. Behind the scenes running the show and answering your questions today, we have Yogi, Sophia, Jane, Holly, Sam and Simon from the NHM and the RHS, so thanks to all of them. The Q&A will be running throughout the webinar, so do send in your questions, especially as these help us update our FAQs on the website with useful information for everyone. So, firstly, the context for the Nature Park. All our lives are dependent on the healthy functioning of nature and ecosystems. But here we live in one of the most nature-depleted countries in the world. Climate change and loss of nature are inextricably linked. Focusing on nature recovery and nature-based solutions has been shown to be a highly effective approach and a critical step in tackling the climate crisis. An independent global review on the economics of biodiversity, led by Professor Dasgupta, argues that we have collectively failed to engage with nature, and it highlights the importance of building lifelong connectedness to nature and natural history understanding into children's educational experiences. Building a connection to nature at a young age means you're more likely to protect it, and access to green space has been shown to have overwhelmingly positive impacts on the physical, mental and emotional well-being of young people. And this is also an investment in the future. We have a shortfall of skilled STEM workers in the UK, with the need for new STEM roles expected to double in the next 10 years. In particular, within the green economy, and in the future, all jobs will need to be green jobs. Just the primary and secondary schools of England cover an area more than twice the size of Birmingham, and school grounds are the land type where nature has been studied least. So, by working together to help nature recover in schools, nurseries and colleges across the country, we have a huge opportunity to make profound positive change. With all that in mind, the overall aim of the National Education Nature Park is to make it possible for every child and young person in England to have the opportunity to develop a meaningful connection to nature, to understand the threats that nature and the environment are facing, and really importantly, to feel able to do something about it. Recent research has shown that taking action, in particular working together with other people, can help to avoid anxiety and overwhelm. The initiative gives young people the opportunity to lead the way in boosting biodiversity at their school, which, multiplied across the whole country, will result in recovery of nature on the education estate. Development of creative, green and digital skills is embedded in the programme, as well as curriculum learning in a range of subjects. An additional benefit to young people at participating settings is enhanced well-being, which, as I just mentioned, can result from more time outdoors, an increased connection to nature, and opportunities to make real positive change and see the results. The National Education Nature Park itself is a growing network of outdoor spaces of schools, nurseries and colleges across England. We have nearly 1,000 staff from over 850 settings who have joined so far, which is really exciting. We've created free learning resources and digital tools that support you to work with your learners to enable them to take the lead in improving their school site for people and for nature. And this process has multiple co-benefits. This is real scientific research carried out by you and your learners, with the information you collect making an important contribution to scientific understanding of the best ways to help nature. Taking part can also support other goals your school might have for things like climate action plans, which are another strand of the Department for Education's Sustainability and Climate Strategy, or for including more climate education in curriculum learning. The network is visualised digitally and can be seen live on our homepage, as is shown on the right of the screen here. Settings can add themselves to the map, and as they mark different habitats, species, or improvements on the map, these are recorded and they appear in real time, showing the collective difference that we're making. So before we get stuck into all the detail, we're just going to do a quick 2-minute taster of one of the activities that can help you get started. Developing a vision statement for your nature park with your students or pupils can help generate ideas, as well as keep things on track over time, as the school community has agreed using this what you're collectively aiming for. So I'm just going to guide you through the start of the Write a Vision Statement activity so that you can reflect on your own vision for joining the nature park. If you want to, and you've got a pen and paper handy, you can write down your responses. So first of all, I recommend you close your eyes. Hold in your mind's eye the outdoor space at your school, nursery, or college. So when you think about this space in the future, 1 or maybe more years down the line, how would you like it to make you and the young people you work with feel? So for this and the other questions I'm about to ask, you might want to think about emotions, colours, adjectives, or examples of wildlife and nature. So words like safe, engaging, fun, calming, sustainable, community, pollinators. So just that first question again, how would you like the site to make you and the young people you work with feel? Next, note down or think about what would people be able to do there? How would this be different from now? Then take a moment to imagine, what would you like to be able to see? And employing all of our senses here, think about what would you like to be able to hear? How would that change from now? And finally, I'll just give you another moment, thinking about achieving improvements for both people and nature. What would the site in the future be like for nature? So hopefully you've managed to have a think about that or note some things down. Children and young people contributing their thoughts and participating in decision making is a really important element of Nature Park. And writing a vision statement is a really good foundation for that. You can also find a reflective planning tool for educators in our resource library to help you identify what you'd like to achieve. And I'm now going to hand over to Jenny, who will say more about the Nature Park process and how to begin.
Laura. So the Nature Park programme has been developed and tested with 39 schools and nurseries across the North West and West Midlands. The programme is purposely flexible so that you can use it in your school or setting throughout the academic year in different seasons and at times that suit you. The Nature Park programme has been designed to work through a 5-step cycle, and there are lots of activities in our resource library so that you have the option to choose the ones which work for your learners, your setting and the time you have available. We hope that you can start integrating the Nature Park into your teaching in sustainable ways and build on this over time. The cycle begins with you and your learners getting to know your site. It doesn't matter if you've got lots of outdoor space or nothing at all, whether it's all grey or whether it's already a little bit green. Getting familiar with any nature that's there and exploring your site to see how different areas are used, maybe where it's bright or shady or where the water pools when it rains, will all help in finding your starting point so that you can understand what kinds of changes will benefit nature and your school community the most. Getting to know your site and finding your starting point will give you something to compare to in the future. The rest of the cycle moves through identifying and deciding on the changes that will help boost nature on your site. The changes you make might be big or small, and they will be the ones that are the most suitable for you. Once you've decided on your changes, the next part of the 5-step cycle will be making that change happen and then seeing the difference you've made in your local area and in how in collaboration with all the other schools and settings, you're making a difference across the country. Each of the Nature Park cycle, each of the steps, of the Nature Park cycle builds on effective teaching practice and values learners' existing experiences and knowledge. There are 6 green skills which underpin the Nature Park activities. The icons shown on screen can be found on our resources to show which skills can be developed alongside curriculum knowledge. Nature Park activities support young people in building their knowledge and skills that will allow them to make decisions, plan and carry out changes to develop their Nature Park site. Taking part will help young people develop the skills to act on behalf of nature, as well as the needs of their school and local community, working together to build a positive change. Young people's wellbeing, connection to nature and including all needs is at the heart of green skill development, empowering learners with agency to care for each other and the planet now and in their future roles. If you want to learn more, there is additional information on Nature Park Green Skills on the website under the resources menu. Taking your first step in a new project can be difficult, especially when it's something that might not be in your comfort or your colleagues' comfort zone. To support schools, nurseries and colleges in taking part in the Nature Park, there are a range of resources to help you start your journey and to help get staff and learners on board with the project. At the top of the resources page, there's a section called Getting Started. And in there, you'll find assembly packs to help get your children and young people energised with the Nature Park. Also in this section, there's a guide on how to write the vision statement that we did earlier for your Nature Park, as well as an email template to send to members of the senior leadership team. During our pilot phase, we worked with early years practitioners, primary and secondary teachers to discuss the barriers people might face in participating in the Nature Park. In the resources library, you'll find specific educator guidance to help answer some of the concerns you or your colleagues might have in taking part. There's a specific guidance for early years practitioners in how the Nature Park can look in an early years setting. There's also guidance if you're concerned about taking learning outside, with lots of best practice advice from our partner organisation Learning Through Landscapes. There's advice on introducing more inquiry-based learning in line with the curriculum, as well as guidance for health and safety, how to plan a project and how to capture the impact your Nature Park is making in your setting. So now we've given some context, let's actually look at how the Nature Park could work for you. The first step that most schools, nurseries and colleges will take will be getting more familiar with the outdoor space you have at your site. There are a range of activities to help young people and staff become more comfortable, confident at being outside, as well as helping you to become more familiar or refamiliarising yourself with the site through a different lens. Your first step might be supporting your learners to develop their connection to nature. The Hidden Nature Challenge was the activity which launched the Nature Park, and you can still take part now. The Hidden Nature activity challenges young people and children to find nature hidden around their setting. Part of the challenge can be to take a photograph of their discovery and share it on our map with all the other settings who are taking part in the Nature Park. It's really exciting to see the tiny insects that have previously gone unnoticed and the plants popping up next to classrooms. All the photographs are verified by a member of our team to ensure that no faces or anything inappropriate can be seen. Another example of an activity you could do with your young people in your space is sound mapping. We ran this activity during the pilot phase with reception through to Key Stage 5. And we asked young people to sit quietly for 5 minutes to focus on listening to the world around them and draw or create a map of the sounds they could hear. One person, when we asked for feedback, said that what we could do to make this activity was by doing it for 5 minutes, then 5 minutes, and then 5 more minutes. It's a great activity and we've really enjoyed doing this one. If you're working with children in an earlier setting, then colour collecting is a great activity to help children see the variety of biodiversity around them. This image is one from our pilot nursery settings, where the children were collecting as many different colours, and you can see how proud this child was of the variety of leaves they found and a feather. You can find all the activity options to help with this step in the resources library by either scrolling down to the title Explore Your School Site, or by selecting the Explore Your School Site in the topic filter just underneath the Getting Started section. We'd really like people to take their time with this first step of the programme. By getting to know your site, it's a great opportunity for staff and learners to get comfortable with all the skills that will set you up for success in the later stages of the cycle and will help to start embedding the Nature Park in really achievable ways. The activities can be done at any time of year and they're easy to adapt for learners of different ages and abilities.
Thanks, Jenny. So another key area in which you can start to make some small changes to build on over time is introducing more climate and nature into your wider curriculum teaching. There are many opportunities across all subjects to include an increased amount of climate and nature information. Many curriculum objectives can be taught using climate change topics as examples, case studies, or context for learning. And getting outdoors more frequently to use nature as a stimulus for learning has proven benefits for young people of all ages and their teachers too. In addition to activities that directly support the 5-step process that Jenny's been describing, and these show the Nature Park flower icon, the resource library draws together activities from a range of providers. We've quality assured all of them using a process that's detailed on the quality assurance page, which can be found under the resources menu. And those resources that have climate change content in them are being reviewed for accuracy by the Royal Meteorological Society, leading experts on climate science and climate education. The resource library is currently focused on science, geography, and citizenship. We will be expanding the subjects covered over the coming months, but already you'll be able to find activities suitable for development of substantive and disciplinary knowledge in English and art and design, as well as careers resources and activities to support wellbeing. We're going to be hosting a curriculum resource focused webinar on Thursday, the 7th of December at 4:15, where we will go into more detail on our pedagogical approach and the research evidence for it, the range of resources we've gathered and developed, and how you might use them in your teaching. So once young people are beginning to feel more confident with learning outdoors and nature and climate knowledge in those first steps of the process, there are lots of other options to explore the site and collect different types of data, supporting data recording and analysis skills. These can be found in the Your Nature Data section of the resource library. For example, we've provided digital tools to collect information about weather, shade, and light, as well as environmental quality around the school. And these were piloted by the Royal Geographical Society and can also be used to deliver geography curriculum learning. Importantly, later this month, we'll be releasing a set of resources to support learners to identify which different habitats are present on your site and work with you to mark those on the national map, from tarmac and buildings to grass, trees and water. There'll be a specific webinar on the 30th of November to introduce that process and answer all of your questions about it. Next year, in time for spring, we'll also be releasing digital tools to add information about which plants and wildlife are living on your site, so the school community can track how that changes over time. So how might you actually start pulling together all the great information collected by your learners about the school site and help them use it to work out and decide what changes you could make? I'll hand back over to Jenny again to talk more about how this can work and all the great things that the pilot settings got up to.
So once your learners are more familiar with their space, you might start to identify opportunities for changes they'd like to see within their site for nature. The second step of the cycle is all about looking at the information and data that's already been collected to help young people answer the question, where do we want to be? Activities like points of view and write a poem can help young people in this step. Here we've got an example of one of our pilot schools who tested design a plant. So for this activity, young people explored their site to find places they liked and didn't like before designing a plant that could improve one area of the school. Here we've got an example of a tree that has got roots to prevent excess rainwater from flooding the playground, lots of hairy leaves to absorb pollution from the main road, and flowers to attract pollinators. During the pilot phase, we really enjoyed the impact that biodiversity bar charts had with helping young people to quickly collect data on features within the school and start to analyse and draw conclusions about what they would like to see more of. In this picture, each of the dark green cards are an individual tree on the school site. Orange cards are of different insects or animals that the young people found, and blue was water. At the end of the activity, we asked young people what they noticed about their school site, and they commented that they didn't have much water, but they had loads of trees. As the conversation continued, the young people started to talk about what they would like to see more of. We'd seen a dragonfly earlier in the session, and one young person said they'd like to see more dragonflies. Another young person said they'd like to see more water, and a third young person added in that if they had more water, then we'd get to see more dragonflies, as the dragonfly larvae live in water. So that was a really great activity that we did for that particular step. The third step of the Nature Park is about making decisions on the actions you would like to take in your school and asking the question, how do we get there? For example, for our pilot school who were discussing having a pond on site to attract more dragonflies, this step would include decisions about the location and type of pond, plants that might surround the pond, and discussions about how to fund and maintain the pond, as well as potentially presenting their ideas to other classes, the local community, or members of the SLT. On the resources page, you'll find a topic called Start Planning for Nature. In here, you will find a range of activities and guidance to support you with this step. There are intervention idea cards to help your learners generate ideas and generate ideas relevant to your site, as well as tools to help prioritise ideas and delegate roles. On this slide, there are two examples of ideas that groups of young people have had for their school site. For a school located next to a main road, there's a suggestion to have trees to absorb some of the air pollution from the road, whilst also providing a habitat for birds and interspersing these trees with strawberry plants so that pupils at the school can enjoy the fruit. The other suggestion we have here was for a school that was struggling in the heat wave with a lack of shade for pupils during break time. The idea they've come up with was to create a hut for shade, but one that also had a green roof and integrated a bug house, so it would be good for people and nature. There's a link on the webpage about places to find funding to support ideas, and not all decisions and ideas have to include a cost. For example, we have some pilot schools who are running a campaign within school just to raise awareness about local biodiversity. The next two steps of the Nature Park cycle are making change happen by putting your plans into action and then monitoring the impact you've had. The changes you've made could be an increase in biodiversity in a particular area, how people use their outside space, or how learners feel in the school grounds. In terms of making changes, you could be doing things like creating a new habitat by planting trees, or planting climbing plants up a fence, installing a water butt, fundraising for a new planter outside your classroom, sharing seeds within your school community, or running a comms campaign to promote biodiversity. As the Nature Park programme develops, we will be providing more guidance for interventions suitable for schools and settings. There will be ideas and suggestions for taking your first steps for biodiversity in an area, making small changes, or ideas for maybe bigger projects. In this first year of Nature Park, the theme is grey to green, as improving spaces that have got no nature, so areas like tarmac, for example, is where there is the greatest gains for nature that can happen. We've chosen to start with grey to green as it's open to all. You don't have to have any existing greenery, or even you might even have a very small site, or maybe have a site with no outdoor space at all and you just have buildings. But all of these areas have some grey space that could be improved. We will be providing suggestions and instructions for suitable grey space improvements on the website later in the year. But for now, we want to emphasise the importance of just having a go with the Nature Park activities. Start by exploring the resources on the website and trying some of the activities out with your learners to build up the skills which will help them enjoy and get the most out of being part of the Nature Park. Being part of the Nature Park is a cycle. You might focus on one area or habitat at the start and keep monitoring the space every year to see the change that you've made. But once you've finished in one area, you might start or want to focus on another aspect of school to see the difference you can make in that area there. There is no end date for the Nature Park. The activities and these steps are here for you when you are ready. You might spend the rest of this academic year on step 1, having a really good explore of your site, developing your learners' connection to nature, confidence and comfort levels with being outside, as well as finding out what you've already got living within your setting. We're not in a race to complete this 5-step cycle. It's what suits your setting, your learners and the time you've got available. The most important step is to have a go at one of these activities and to start your Nature Park journey.
So next steps. The first action that you can take now, if you haven't already, is to register for the programme at educationnaturepark.org.uk and get your site onto the map. Multiple staff from the same school, nursery or college in England can register. At the moment, anyone can access the resources and all of the information without registering, and they will always be free for everyone to use. But there are benefits to registering now, including having a personal dashboard that keeps track of the resources that you're using, which is shown here on this slide, and also being able to access the digital nature recording tools. Once you have registered, you can use our simple site boundary creator tool to draw around a satellite photo of your site. It only takes a few minutes, and this instantly adds it to the national network of Nature Park sites, and you officially become part of the Nature Park. You can follow this QR code to the registration page. All the resources and guidance we've spoken about and more can be found by clicking Resources in the main menu on the homepage to take you to the resource library, where you can filter by key stage, topic, and duration. Details of the 5-step process Jenny described can be found by clicking Nature Park. The News and Events link has blogs and case studies where you can find out how other schools have achieved success. Frequently asked questions, information about funding options, and other help and support can all be found on your dashboard. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We really hope you found what you need to take the first step. And please look out for more webinars, including the ones that we mentioned, as well as videos and support on different topics in the future. We're so excited to see the difference you and your learners make coming together for a more positive future for nature. Thank you.